instructions assignment, okay, remember this is, you're getting to it from our calendar here, okay, so it is linked to today's practice. You can get it here. You can get it by going to our module, okay. Here's that extra credit I talked about. It's at the very top, extra credit practice, okay, and then at the bottom is today's practice, okay. So if you click on that and load it, it'll take you to a Delta Math window. There are 3 question types assigned, okay. We did 3 constructions yesterday in our notes. We copied a segment, okay, so made a congruent segment. We constructed an angle bisector and a perpendicular bisector. So I'm going to go through one of each of these just to make sure that you know how to use the online tools, the online compass, and to remind you of the process, the steps. Okay, you're welcome to have your notes out if you need to. Okay, so when we're using a compass, we said if we went all the way around, it would make a circle, right? So the compass here on Delta Math is always going, you're going to see the outline of a full circle when you click on your compass. You're not going to see an image of a compass like we did in the notes yesterday, or like a handheld compass. Okay, so it says use your compass and straight edge to copy HI, segment HI. Okay, your final answer should be exactly one blue segment with point H prime as one of the endpoints. So they've given us the original segment and a starting point for the copy that we're going to make. Okay, so we are going to click on compass, okay, and then come down here, and when you hover over that starting point, you see that little blue highlight appear. You're going to click and drag, okay. Now, I don't want to do it over here yet. You can do it on any of the points. You're going to see that appear. I need to set my compass length for the given segment, right? So it doesn't matter if you start on H or I, pick one of your endpoints, and you're going to click and drag, and you're going to see the outline of a circle forming, and you drag until the other endpoint's highlighted, and then you release. So now your compass is set. So now to move your compass, you click on the center and drag. So drag the center, okay, to your new starting point and release. Okay, now when you hover your mouse over this dotted line of the circle, see how a pencil appears? You can draw your arc anywhere once the pencil appears. So I could draw my arc here, right? I could draw it anywhere. You could draw it up here where the other point is if you want it to be drawn at the same angle as the original. But we talked about how yesterday it doesn't matter where around that I draw this arc, because it's all the radius, right? It's all equal. Okay, so once you have an arc drawn somewhere, then you're going to come back up here and change tools. And it said your answer should be exactly one blue segment. So which button do you think we're going to push? Segment. We're going to read carefully. Our instructions are pretty clear. Do not do a line or a ray on this problem. You're doing a segment. So you click on segment, the compass will disappear, and then you're going to, again, click and drag from your starting point, okay, and see how, and you just release once you have that other point somewhere on the arc that you drew. Anywhere on the arc that you drew, you drop that end point. So now this segment is the exact same length as HI. Is that clear to everybody? Now, if I accidentally do this, like when I'm coming up here and I accidentally click another thing and I try to submit this, it's going to tell me that it's wrong because I had an extra segment in there. Okay, so if you accidentally draw a segment, there's this undo button here, right? So if you accidentally click and have an extra segment or point or anything, use this undo button and make sure the only thing on your white space here is the arc that you drew and the segment that you connected the point to the arc. That's the only thing that should be on here. And then if you hit submit, it should count it right. Good? Okay, now remember, you always have the show example button on yours. Mine looks different because this is a teacher account, but you can show the example. You can watch the help video if you need a reminder on what to do or how to use the tools. Okay, now the construct an angle bisector problem says we're going to use our compass and straight edge to bisect angle U. Your final answer should be exactly one blue ray. So when I'm done, I am not choosing segment or line. It says to use a ray. So make sure you are reading what type of segment, ray, or line to use. Okay. So again, I'm going to start with compass. We did yesterday on our notes. We said the first thing we need to do when we're bisecting an angle is to draw an arc all the way across that touches both sides, right? So set your compass however big you want to set it. Okay, and then you have to draw an arc that touches both sides of the angle. Then you have to move your compass. Remember, we move it to one of those intersection points now. It doesn't matter which one we start with. We'll plop it there. Now, you can change the size of your compass between step 1 and step 2. By clicking here, you can change the size of your compass. Okay, but if I make it too small, there's no way if I draw an arc over here and then I move it and draw an arc here, those aren't going to intersect, are they? So you have to make sure that it's big enough that it comes out into the middle of the circle. Okay, so set your compass size or leave it the same if you want to use it the same size, and draw an arc out here in the middle of your angle, however big or small you want. Do not change the compass size between step 2 and step 3. Okay, so once you've drawn that arc, you can't change the size now. So move it over here and draw an arc that would intersect the one we just drew. Now it says to use a ray, so I'm going to click on ray and the compass disappears. I'm going to connect. The ray has to start at my vertex and go through this intersection point. Notice the way that I drew my arcs, I have 3 intersection points. So be careful that it's going through the correct intersection of those last 2 arcs. Okay, so as long as it's going through that point, release, and that ray is your angle bisector. So then you would submit your answer. Again, if you accidentally click and type something else, just hit undo, and that last one will go away. Okay, and so you submit, and we got it right. That one makes sense? A little bit? Okay, and again, you can watch the video there or view examples if you need help. Last one, constructing a perpendicular bisector. Use a compass and straight edge to construct a perpendicular bisector to segment OP. Your final answer should be exactly one blue line. So we selected a segment for the first type, a ray for the second type, and now we're going to use the line. So make sure you're using the right button up here. You don't want to get it wrong and have to do it all over again. All right, so we're going to set our compass. Remember the bisector? We set our compass to how big on this segment? Who remembers?
Oh, more than the little one.
More than halfway. This is a little too close to center for comfort. I can't tell exactly. This is definitely too small. It needs to be over halfway. Okay, so get close to that other endpoint if you need to. Just make sure it's more than halfway. It doesn't have to be exactly 3/4, but 3/4 is a good estimate to shoot for. Once you have that segment, or I'm sorry, that compass set to over halfway down the segment, now you're going to draw an arc. Your arc has to be either one big, like almost semicircle, okay, or I could undo that. You could do 2 separate arcs. Do one on this side and one on this side. But if you want to just do one big one and connect all that, that's fine. Okay, some people prefer that. So if I do one of those and now I move my compass, I do not resize it. I just move it to the other endpoint and then I draw an arc from that endpoint. As long as I get that intersection on both sides of the segment, I'm good. Now I'm going to do, it said to use a line. So I'm going to select line. And now it's connecting those 2 intersection points. That is the perpendicular bisector of OP. OP is cut in half exactly by this blue line, okay, and it has created a 90-degree angle at the intersection. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so those are your 3 question types. I believe I said, yeah, you're doing 7. You need to get 7 of each correct. If you get one wrong, you'll have to do an extra, okay? So it's just practicing. those 3 constructions. Everybody good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And again, that is here at the bottom of the module, or you could go look at your assignment list to get to it, or click on the link in the calendar. So it's at the bottom, and I put the extra credit would be under assignments as well. So you have the today's 1.5 construction practice. If you finish this with time to spare, you can jump into working on that extra credit if you think that's something you're going to want to try and get done before the test day. Or you can go back. I would go back and double check on what is completed from our previous assignments. Remember, it is now too late to do 1.1 and 1.2. They are more than 2 school days past their due date. But 1.3 and 1.4, they were due the 22nd. That was Friday. So 2 school days since Friday is today, right? Tuesday. So these 2, 1.3 and 1.4, are still open for late credit through tonight at 11:59 p.m. Then the mixed practice is actually the same. It looks like it has a different due date, but I just gave you the weekend as extra time, but still 2 school days later is still tonight. So actually 1.3, 1.4, and the mixed practice. So any of these last 3 tonight by 11:59 p.m. is your last chance to go complete those for late credit. Everybody understand that? All right. So this 1.5 constructions is due by tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So you have today and tomorrow to finish that if needed. If you're all caught up and you finish this, then you can work on the extra credits.